Usually the people that are honored are the faces that are out front. They're the ones with the most followers. They're the ones who've had international news and press. Nothing wrong with that. And a lot of organizations honor those people. But what about the people that helped you get there? Nobody knows these people. And they're making such a huge difference. Time to start honoring them. It's time to put them out front.
Well, hello there, prosperity seeker and obedient rebel. Welcome to another episode of the Prosperity Approach. I am your obedient rebel in residence, Allyson Chavez, and I am so excited to introduce you to one of my favorite people today. And we are just going to have this really amazing conversation of flow and prosperity and being a millionaire. There's an awesome book that's coming out. Secrets of the Shoestring Millionaire, which you are absolutely going to want to pick up. It's not quite out yet, but it's about to be out. And so you are going to absolutely love this person. Theresa Goss, Tigo, is a producer. Has a ton of different networks or platforms rather that she's been in television production for decades. You know, you don't know it to look at her because she's so young.
Nice
She
save.
she founded the Now Network, which is a network of outstanding women, which I am so thrilled to be a part of. And I was like, Tigo, I want my audience to know you so that they can love you as well. So Tigo, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thanks for having me. Absolutely. When you invited me, I was like, let's go now, you know?
You totally did. You totally did. And before we're recording, I'm like, what do you want to talk about? And you're like, whatever we want to talk about. I'm
Whatever
wearing
you
a
want
shirt
to
that
talk
I
about.
hate.
Yeah, it's like even the shirt that I hate. I know right now Sandra Falk is watching going, what are you wearing? But I had a plan for this. It's supposed to have a Sandra Falk original vest over it. Only problem is it's in one of the many garment bags that I could not find the vest in. That's it. So it's plain gray shirt today.
Well, you know what though, but your amazing personality and spirit and vibration just completely overshadows any sort of plain gray shirt. So we're just
Oh
happy
yeah, you got to
that you're
call me
here.
every day and just tell me, the stuff like that, it'll make me soar through my day.
I absolutely will. I absolutely will. So here's the thing, everybody, why I want you to meet Tigo, because I've been in the online space for decades. And when people are like, this is the real deal, this person's legit. I never really understood what that this is the fake deal. This person is a fake deal. Like I never really got that. But once I got, I was kind of green around the ears for a little while. And as I got more and more into online business and connecting with people, you start seeing who's really sincere and who isn't as sincere as they would like you to believe. And
Yeah.
Tigo is 100% sincere. And it was such a breath of fresh air to me after feeling jaded by a lot of people who were like, oh, we're going to make things happen and let's have a partnership. And then they're like, actually, no, let's not. Tigo just is. She just took me right under her wing when we were introduced. And it has just been such a beautiful experience. You know how everybody talks about, oh, my community is a family, but it's really not, unless it's a super dysfunctional family. You're like, there's no way that I would be vulnerable in this quote unquote family, this community, right? But hers is, and it's so fun to be part of that family. So Tigo, tell us what you're all about. Tell us about the Now community and what you're here to do.
The network of outstanding women really evolved out of something my mother said to me before she passed. She passed in '07. And in 2005, she said, you need to do something for women. And I said, what? She said, I don't know, figure it out. And the reason she said that is because I'm a techie. I program in 19 languages. There's three major computers in front of me right now. I'm super happy in a really dark room with a lot of computers creating stuff. But then on top of that, I'm also a disabled Navy veteran. So a lot of my early career, my first 30 years, was in an environment where there weren't a lot of women in that environment. And I learned that I could go toe to toe with these guys and to literally stand my ground so they have to respect me as much as they wanted me to respect them.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay. She says, you got to show other people, other women, that they can go toe to toe. Well, it took me until 2021 to actually start because I wasn't sure what to do. So in 2019, I went to an award show, quote unquote, here in Las Vegas for women. And it was in a hotel that starts with an H. We're not going any further than that. And it was in the back room, the one down the dark hall past the janitor's closet, the little tiny room that has a coffee maker and day old Danish. And there was like 12 seats in there or something. And they honored like five women. And they had these little trophies that look like bowling trophies, but without the bowler, right? And the lady stood there with the little trophy. They're like, oh my God, this is, oh, I just love, because that's what women do, right? We're gonna appreciate publicly whatever it is you give us. We're gonna do it, right? And then I'm like, yeah, that's not making it out the building, or it's never leaving the car, or their kids are gonna play with it because it is never going on display. Well, at the time, I was a part of, Russell Brunson's community and still am. And they have a little award called a two comma that when you get it, people lose their minds over it.
Uh-huh.
They will re-record their interviews because, oh my God, my two comma wasn't there. And I thought, we need to do something like that. We need to honor women in a way that, they are just so proud to be a part of the community. And we need to make sure this community is not a pitch fest by any means. You do not sell from my stage. And is not one of those, oh, we're together over here and you need to go over there because you're not quite ready. No, there is no VIP. Everybody is VIP. We don't even do name tags. I took a piece of that from Greg Reed's Secret Knock. And it's like, come on in, have a seat. If you don't, like, I literally sent a billionaire to the top of the stairs on one of my awards because they were late. And they said, oh, well, Tigo, where's my seat? And I went, there's an empty seat in here. I'm sure there is. And they said, but you didn't save me a seat? Do you know who I am? I absolutely know who you are. But in this house, we're family. We're sisters. We're cousins. We're friends. And there isn't a seat saved in this house. So I just yelled out, yeah, you know how I do. I
Mhm.
yelled out, yo, who's got an empty seat? And three people raised their hand. And of course, it was in the top of the house, all the way up there. Well, long story long, when the event was over and the awards were given out, she came down the stairs. This was 2022 or 23. She came down the stairs and she hugged me crying, talking about the best thing I've ever done. And everybody just treats me like me. I don't have that. And it's like, yeah, that's the point. You need a place you can go. I've had people say, well, I got to bring my security. Trust me, my whole family in this business is prior military. Security is not an issue. You know,
Mhm.
it's like
Mhm.
just come on in, enjoy, let your hair down, have a good time. So we started the first one in 21 virtually, and then 22 started live, and now we're about to do our fifth year. And secret be told, we're going to honor this woman named Allyson this time too, coming October 2nd to the 4th. On the evening of the 3rd, she's going to get her now. And I have seen that now on New York Times, Today Show, I mean, LA magazines and newspapers, Chicago Sun-Times, Good Morning America. The women love their now, and it's awesome. And we love, sharing that love with them.
Mhm.
So that's
Mhm.
the long circle.
And I'm really, really excited we have a space already
Yeah,
back
yeah,
there
yeah. Already picked a
for
space.
it,
Yeah,
wherever that, right there, we got a
yeah, right
space.
there, right there. The
And
flowers are going to shift a little because the thing is 8.5 pounds and 12 inches high.
I
So
know, no, we're gonna
you
have, we'll do some shifting, but
you have to shift
seeing
the
those
flowers
awards
just a skosh.
and,
And bring another suitcase because I'm telling you now, bring another suitcase because the box and everything makes it very big. That is going to be your carry-on. And then go to the airport a little early because they're going to stop you going through security for the blunt object in your suitcase. Okay, go ahead.
I love you. I love you. It's so amazing. So tell me, and I really appreciate that story because I went to another awards event that you had just earlier, well, what last month, this month, last month, very early, well, recently rather. I went very recently, and I really went. because God told me to go. I knew you kind of well. I didn't know anybody else in the community. But as we were talking, and it's called her Trailblazers Awards, and I just felt this, you need to be there. You need to be
You
there. And I
did
was
need to be
like,
there.
why do I need to be there? And then I got in that room and then I realized why I needed to be there because of the authenticity of the people there. It was safe to be yourself in there with all of your flaws, and all of your stars too. Like there was celebration going on. It was just, and the people are heavy hitters and highly successful people, and to have them be real, like actually be real and interested in you, because there were no pretensions and there were no masks. I'm like, man, Tigo has created something so amazing here. So, like, tell me, what is your secret to that? Because here you are, a techie, and most techies have a very hard time relating with other people, or
Yeah,
other
I'm
people have
I'm
a
a little
hard time.
weird.
But you don't. But you don't. Everybody, like, whatever room we're in, they're like, Tigo, and you're like, hey. So how do you do it?
I don't. I'm just going to put it out there. I don't. I follow my heart and I listen to my gut and I say, I need to honor this person. And sometimes I don't even know what I'm really truly going to honor them as, as far as category. But I know they need to be there. And I know the people that I need to invite. And the right people will be in that room. It's like we could fill it to the rafters. That the Trailblazers, the SV Trailblazers, was our first. This is the first time we did that. And it's an exact sibling of the Now, except guys, and women, all inclusive, can be honored at Trailblazers because, the guys were crying. They were watching the Now honors, going, what about us? Because the rule is you can come on over. You can even bring your kids to the event. I'm fine with that, but the women on the stage at the Now, period. They're the ones being honored. They're the ones being presented. They're the presenters. They're the speakers. This is their house of Network of Outstanding Women. So we decided, you know what? We're not going to do a men's event, but we will do an all-inclusive event called the Trailblazers, and it literally mirrors the Now. And it went, you have no idea the mountains and valleys we had to cover to get the first one done, but it was awesome. And there really is no secret. The rule is, period, you want to be respected, respect everybody else in this room. You can be, glamorous and bougie and do all that stuff outside of these doors. But in these doors, Mary Sue and Bob and Bill are just that. This is the adult playground where when we were little kids, the cool kids were over here and the sporty kids were over there. And the ones that felt like a misfit, like me, I'm a proud misfit. We were the ones left out because we didn't really fit in to any of that environment. And, I became a sports person just so I could fit in
Mhm.
high school. I didn't want that. I did not want that. It's like you come in here, just respect the room. Don't step on anybody's feelings. And we do on the third day. People say, oh, you could save money and just make it a 2-day event. In my mind, the roundtable discussion on the third day and the documentary interviews that we do on the third day of the people that have been honored is the jewel. It's the cherry on top of the sundae because we do not record that roundtable discussion. We don't tell you to come, made up and glam and all, wear your sweatpants, do whatever the heck you want to do. And we just have a conversation. And I want to tell you, if you don't make anything else on our 3-day weekend, you definitely want to be at that roundtable discussion. We have talked about everything from faith to how to build $1 billion business. Yeah, B, from a billionaire who did it from scratch. Think about, do you want to be in that room? That was a year ago, and I'm still sitting here going, now what did they say? No, you know,
We gotta have him back.
it's amazing, and I'm just so happy that people love Trailblazers because you never know. In theory, you think, oh, it's going to be great. It's a sibling of the Now, but what if it isn't? And it was, and 3 of the guys stood on stage and cried.
Yeah,
We must be doing something right.
yeah.
So it was amazing, and I'm so glad you did come because I was so happy to have you there. And thank you for closing out the roundtable discussion with us on the third day, because I knew you could tie that in a bow, and that's exactly what you did.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. One thing that you'll learn about Tigo, everybody, is that she likes to voluntold you lots for anything. And so you just say, yes,
I
ma'am.
do. I do. You know,
But you can
I
also
do.
voluntold Tigo because I was like, Tigo, you're gonna be on my podcast, and she's like, okay, yes, I'm gonna be. I'm not gonna be on your podcast. And I think the point of this conversation, and this is a purely organic conversation, that even people that have a status or whatever label of success that you put on people, we still want to feel like we belong. And
Absolutely.
and it's really difficult because we haven't been taught to belong. We've been taught to try to fit in, which is where the
Right.
masks come in and the and I like the glitz and the glamour and the bougie as much as anybody else, but I really love my lounging suits and my sweats as well. But like you had such beautiful boundaries and ground rules for this that it was like you belong. Just decide that you belong and
Yeah.
let's see what happens. And
Yeah.
it was so beautiful. And I love that you created this for women and for men because you didn't have it
Yeah.
growing up.
No, I didn't have it growing up. And, I am the ultimate misfit. I'm a super geek from the south side of Chicago. Let's think about that for a second. I was told when I was 4 years old, I had a genius IQ. And, had people come to my house and sit on the good furniture in the living room. For everybody out there, you have no idea, especially for an African American black family. You have furniture in the living room, you got runners running through on the carpet. You're not allowed to do anything but dust it. You can never sit on it except for graduation. You get to go take a picture. Other than that, stay off the good part. And I came home from with my mom, and there were two people sitting on the good part of the furniture in the living room, you know, and they came there to tell my father that I was, I had a genius IQ and I should be allowed to go to school for the gifted. And my dad said, well, I don't want her smarter than me at the age of 10. Well, in reality, I'm going to be smarter than you at the age of 10, no matter
Yeah,
what school I went to.
yeah.
But he kept me in public school and he wouldn't let me jump grades. And so I just was bored out of my mind that entire time. And you don't feel like you fit in. You don't feel like, and you're sitting there wanting to tell people, like I voluntold everybody now. But back then, I wasn't going to voluntold anybody.
Mhm.
So I sit there going, I could tell you how to fix that. But then you're going to label me nerd and then you won't talk to me anymore. So I'm just going to let you keep going down the wrong road. I'll wait. You know, that's how I grew up. That's what it was about.
Well, I'm so glad that you don't let people go down the wrong road now. And this is a thing that this is a gift that you absolutely have. Because I've known geniuses that have no bedside manner, they have no tact whatsoever, and you just have it oozing out of you. And this is one of the gifts that you have because you are all about AI and like all of the most amazing things. And you run these trainings on AI for us in the community. And you make it like you are able to make it understandable. This
Yeah.
is what you're going to do and this is how it can work, and it's like, oh my gosh, my brain just exploded, but in a really great way. I'm not overwhelmed by it anymore. It's amazing. So tell me what you're up to. You have this amazing book that's coming out. Tell us about that. Tell us how we can find it, and what big projects are you working on?
Well, the first thing I'm going to do with it is give it to everybody in the Now Network. That's going to happen. So as soon as it's done and out, we'll send a link out to everybody that's part of the Now community and so they can have it first. And then after that, I'll put it somewhere where people can go and buy it or we'll put a package around it. I have no idea. Right now we have 15 different ideas. But to go back and answer your question about what makes me different, I think I was just blessed to have certain people come into my life and see past the silent nerd, because I was very, very shy, and very silent. Spent a lot of time sitting in the back in the corner. A good friend of mine, a mentor of mine who passed last year, Lillian McMorris. I produced her television show for years. She took me under her wing, but she taught me how to network. because I can go on a stage with thousands of people, a couple of hundred people, 50 people. I can talk one on one with just about anybody. Put me in a cocktail environment and you want me to small talk, it's just illogical that we're standing here doing this. And she took me to a networking event I will never forget. And she said, "Look, you are not coming in here for 5 minutes getting a water because I don't drink, getting a water and running out the door." No. She took my keys out of my hand and I said, "What are you doing?" And she says, "You have to go meet 10 people, get 10 business cards, and then I give you your keys so you can go home." Well, I have a genius IQ. So what did I do? I ran up to people and said, "Hi, what's your name? What do you do? You got a business card?" And they said, "Yes." And I said, "Here's mine." And I did 10 in like 5 minutes. I came back and got my key and ran. That was my networking. So the next time she was like, "I'm going with you." And she made me stand there and talk to people. So I've had the blessing of having people who are outgoing and love that public attention kind of take me under their wings and say, "You want to know something, you got to ask them." A good friend of mine way back in the 80s, I've never told this story, I don't think, in any other show. Way back in the 80s, I said, "I want to be a very successful entrepreneur when I get out of the Navy. That's what I want to do." And she said, "You need to learn how to talk to people," because literally I didn't even look you in the eye. You know, and she took me to a baseball game. And I'm like, "Okay." She said, "I'm gonna teach you how to talk to people at a baseball game. Come on now." And we're standing in the hall, right next between the nachos and the hot dog stand.
Mhm.
And she says, "See that guy over there with his son?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "Go over there and find out what he does." What? Who cares what he does? It's a baseball game. She was like, "That could be the CEO of the company that you're trying to get as a client. You're never getting past their gatekeeper until you learn how," which I have mastered. I could write a book on how to get past the gatekeeper.
Oh, that's your
Um,
next book.
yeah, I can, no, you have no idea. I have mastered that. And it's so simple. She was like, "But here with his son, he's on weekend mode." I'm like, "Exactly." She's like, "Go over there. Don't sell him anything. Just get to know who he is." So I walked over to the guy and I said, "Hi, your son is so handsome." He said, "Thank you." I said, "I'm told to come over here and find out what you do because she will not let me go into the game or go home until I do." And he just laughed. I said, "I'm learning how to talk to people. I'm a computer geek. I don't talk to people." And he stood there and funny thing is he became a client. True story. But he
Really?
stood there and said, "This is what I do. This is who I am." He said, "This is the coolest thing ever. And when my son gets old enough, I'm going to make him do it." His son went, "Uh-uh, uh-uh." And he was like 7. Uh-uh. But
Oh,
that was how I learned that, she told me, she says, everybody gets up in the morning, hopefully. Everybody puts one leg out, pant leg on at a time. We all got to eat. Everything else comes after that. And when it comes to the now, when it comes to Melrose, when it comes to productions, my show, Expert Talk, all of that, I approach everybody like that guy at the baseball game. You had to put everything on. You got up this morning, combed your hair, did the lovely lipstick, got ready for your show. Everybody goes through those steps, and it has nothing to do with what degrees they have, what titles they own, or how much money's in their bank account. And when you're sick, you give it all up, no matter what you have, to have another healthy day. And when I learned that, I could talk to anybody because I just see them as human. That's it. I just see him as human. And then I find out everything else after that. You're knighted. Oh my gosh. You're a doctor. Wow. You're a billionaire. Didn't know that. I came to you because you were Bob and you look lost in the hallway. Bob, are you lost in the hallway?
you're a doctor too, Dr. Tigo. I was
Oh
there
goodness.
when you graduated and oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I am. And it was an interesting journey getting there. I'm proud to say I earned it. Nothing wrong with honorary. I have been offered a couple over the years, and I will take the next one, but I turned them down because until I earned one, I didn't want to take an honorary one. That was just me. My dad taught me you earn everything you get, so I wanted to earn it. And the only reason, honestly, in my gut to do it was because my parents adopted me at 6 months old, And they were born in the 20s. They were literally sharecroppers when they were kids until they were 15, 16 years old and moved to Chicago from Arkansas and Mississippi. My dad had a fourth grade education. My mom had an eighth grade education. Her first real job was sewing the soles on military boots for World War II. So to go from adopted sharecropper daughter to PhD, yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing. Tell us about Squirrel TV.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so Squirrel TV, I promise you it's coming out. It is literally sitting on servers right now, waiting, like a squirrel eating a lot of nuts, just waiting for its turn. But Squirrel TV is all about exactly what the Now Honors is, exactly what Trailblazers is, Star Makers, Shoestring Millionaire Secrets. It's focused on showing people the inside of the journey. So we're interviewing like sports legends. I'm a huge basketball fan and a even bigger Bulls fan from back when Michael Jordan won 6 rings. And I can name 3 or 4 of the team that won it with him. Well, there's at least 12 people on the team. Those people got the rings too. Nobody's ever put a camera in their face and said, "What's your journey?" We're doing that. We're doing it also with legendary musicians and artists, that have been on this journey for 30 or 40 years and nobody's ever asked their story. We're doing that. And it's being wrapped around with motivation, inspiration, and thought leaders that are changing the world. Because when I grew up, unions changed the world. Everybody wanted to be in a union. I
Mhm.
told my father unions would not exist or they wouldn't be the same when I got his age. And he made me get out of the house because unions put food on the table. I'll never forget that day. Put your fork down, get out. Unions put food on the table. Until you can respect that, stay outside. But don't leave the yard because then I couldn't find you and that's not happening. So I just stood by the back door when I was like 10 years old going, "Can I come in now?" "No." "Do you know what I'm saying?" So I stood out there for about an hour so I could learn my lesson. And now, yeah, seriously, my dad had his own way of doing things.
Yes.
But now it's true. Small
Mhm.
business entrepreneurs, are changing the world right now. Big business is crumbling in a lot of ways
Yep.
and turning into micro businesses within itself. And it's like, this is the time, this is the time. And if you're not listening, whoo. So in Squirrel, being able to have Allyson in there, being able to have Forbes Riley, Alex Stern. These are leaders. Marie Diamond has literally taught a 500 million with a B people in her lifetime. Marie Diamond from The Secret. And we've got interviews with her. That's what Squirrel is about. And because my brother calls me a squirrel, because I jump from things to things and it drives him crazy, and he's always screaming, "Squirrel, pay attention." We decided we would call it Squirrel because all of us crazy entrepreneurs and super geeks and misfits, yeah, we jump from subject to subject like that. I know
Mhm.
somebody actually has been watching the interview, sped ahead to this point, went, "What are they talking about? Squirrels and nuts?" and backed up and went back to find out. I know you did. Just go ahead and admit it.
Right. That's right. Well, and I think that you fill this need and you close this gap that people are feeling so much that it's, am I even seen? Do I make a difference?
Yeah.
Here's my gift and here's my talent, and I'm trying to share it with the world. And, to your point, with legendary basketball teams, but we only remember one or two of the players. It's like, but I was part of the team too. Am I seen? Am I celebrated? And it's not from this um, conceited, arrogant place
Hmm.
in us. It's just, did I contribute? Did I contribute? I feel like I did. Did I make a difference? And
Yeah.
and where we're in this trust recession right now, and we don't trust big corp, and we don't trust big tech, and we don't trust the government, all for very good reasons. Like now more than ever, it is like it's us that are needing to shine and to say, I see you,
Yeah.
and you belong. I don't care how many zeros follow that comma in your bank account. I don't care how many commas you have or don't have in your bank account. What I care is that I see you. I see
Yeah,
you as a person and want to
absolutely.
honor that. And I love that you're doing
Absolutely. Okay, one, I'm a big baby, so I cry all the time. I'll probably cry in this interview, so just get over it. But two, you know, it's like it's not about the awards. It's not people sitting there going, I want an award. I want to stand on stage and be honored. It's not that.
yeah.
But usually the people that are honored are the faces that are out front. They're the ones with the most followers. They're the ones who've had international, news and press. Nothing wrong with that. And a lot of organizations honor those people. But what about the people that helped you get there? What about the managers? I mean, everybody in my inner circle knows who Alan is. Alan is my brother. He's also my producer and he's one of my business partners. You all know Alan when you come into our house. It's not my house, it's our house, all of us,
Mhm.
part of the organization. And, but nobody's out front honoring Alan. And if we didn't have Alan, we wouldn't have what we're doing. And I've been a producer for most of my career. I didn't come out front until January of 20. Yeah, perfect timing. And did 4 interviews for my new show, Expert Talk. I'm now 700 episodes in, but I did 4 and I signed a contract with local television network Cox here and with national television network Family Channel that I was going to deliver a show every Saturday morning for a year. And then a little thing like COVID came along, and I went, hey, this COVID thing, what do I do about my show? They said, well, you can either figure out how to get us new shows, or we'll just run the same 4 episodes, fulfill your time slot until COVID's over. Well, COVID still isn't over. I mean, you can go outside, but it's not over,
Yeah.
So we decided that I would move everything into my house. And I became producer, director, water girl, and host for years. But I talked to people all over the world and it opened up so many doors. And then I said, nobody knows these people and they're making such a huge difference. Time to start honoring them. It's time to put them out front. It's not about perfect hair or a million followers on Instagram. Now Honors and now SV Trailblazers is all about honoring the people that are making a difference. Whether they got $5,000 in their account, 500 or 5 million, I don't care. These are the ones that are making a difference. And by honoring that person, do you know the team behind them that are going, because nobody has honored them. So it just trickles through.
Hmm.
I've
Yeah.
gotten pictures of, the team with the award together going, because it knocked on their door. They may never get an Emmy, a Grammy, or an Oscar,
Mhm.
but they got there now, and now they're getting their Trailblazer wings.
Yeah.
So fun.
Yes, yes, it's amazing. I know that there are people that are like, all right, how do I be part of this community where I actually belong? So, Tigo, how do they find you? How do they connect with you? Tell us.
Every time I go on stage, I do one thing, and it's to make sure people remember my name. And like you said, I've had, I've literally been walking down the street in Jamaica, and somebody came out of a bodega and screamed across the street, "Hey, Tigo!" And I went, wow, because every time I walk on a stage, that's what I do. I say, "Hey, can I get a Hey Tigo?" And people say, "Hey Tigo" for the rest of the weekend. So my branding expert, Stacy Rasky, said, yeah, that's what your website should be. Everybody remembers Hey Tigo. And I went, oh, okay. So they can just go to heytigo.com and say, Hey Tigo, give a shout out. That's how you can find out about everything we're doing.
Yes, and you want to find out. So, and we're going to put the link in the show notes. Go to heytigo.com, connect with her. You'll actually connect with Tigo. Like she's a real person and she
Yeah,
sees you as a real person. And
yeah,
it's such a relief to be seen and to be celebrated and to belong, really to
absolutely.
belong.
Welcome to the family. Let's
Yeah,
go.
that's right.
But I want people to understand it's a family.
Mhm.
It's people come in trying to take advantage, you get booted.
Mhm.
I am going, Allyson mentioned bringing her under my wing. I am the biggest mama bear on the planet. I can be super nice, try to best with my family. We will kick you out toot sweet. But other than that, Come on in, enjoy, meet these amazing people. You will literally find you'll change your entire world because people in this room, virtually or in person, they've got the answers. They've already been through that jungle. They can show you the light straight down the path. So, yeah,
And and they
heytigo.com.
and they want to. And
And they want to. Yeah, they
yeah.
want to. That's what you got 2 minutes. I'll tell you a quick story.
Yes, of course. I love
Okay,
your
quick,
stories.
quick story. So it was 2022. I'm not going to name names, but we had a very, very successful multi-door real estate person in the room. And multi-door just means you're investing in apartments and condos and so forth, multiple doors. And another starting out real estate person came to me and said, "Oh, I just want to meet her. Can you introduce me, please?" And I'm like, "She's right over there." "Oh, I could never. Oh my goodness. She might have something else going on at the moment." I'm like, "Are you kidding?" Never mind. So after the break, you know how I am, I grab a mic and I said, "Yo," and the multi-door billionaire turned around. I said, "So and so wants to meet you. She's just getting started in real estate, really. And she wants to get into multi-door." Well, they've since done multi-million dollar deals since then, right? But they turned and looked and she said, "Absolutely." And I swear it was like somebody made it slow motion. And they across the room and do this big hug and she's got a tear and I'm like, that's what it's about. You pray. I know I've prayed to get the right connection. Just please let just a crack in the door. You don't even have to open the whole door, just a crack so that they know I'm here. But to have somebody just swing the door open and say,
Yes.
"Come on in here. This is how this is done." Yeah, that's what it's about. And that's what, the secrets of a shoestring millionaire is. I'm literally showing you how you can make seven figures if you got $7 in your pocket today. In that book, I'm going to show you how to make seven figures. Mind you, you either buy your way in or you work your way in. This book is about working your way in. You are not going to get to sit around and watch for lottery tickets and think you're going to win. You got to do the work. Okay, I think my time's up.
That's
I'll
right.
stop talking now.
Oh my gosh, I love you so much. Thank you.
Love you
Thank
too.
you. I'm going to have you on again because I know you're going to be one of our favorite guests on this show. So thank you so
Anytime.
much for your
You
heart
can
and for your.
volunteer me to show up. I will
That's right.
volunteer.
I'll be like, I want you again. Come on. Everybody's like, when's Tigo coming back? So, everybody, thank you so
Absolutely.
much. Thank you for being here. Go to heytigo.com, connect with her. If you're looking for a family, you found it. You found it. So,
Absolutely.
until next time, remember prosperity becomes you. Bye bye.